Recruiters, we need your help. Jeremy Snell of Rookie to Recruiter and Hisham Mazood of Hector are collaborating on a survey about the state of performance development in recruitment. It's going to help people in the industry and those who contribute it to benchmark against industry standards, identify L&D gaps, inform decision making, stay ahead of trends, improving employee retention, boosting recruitment success, and tailoring training programs, in addition to business review, hiring better, and providing a return on investment. We're looking for people to complete the survey, which will be in the description below, and you have a chance to win a range of prizes. If you're looking for a new invoice financing solution for your recruitment business, I highly recommend Zodec. Zodec have a relationship-based, courteous approach and a professional approach to working with their clients. So whether you're a startup or an established business, they offer you a range of financial and back office support solutions that will suit your business and are specific to your requirements and your goals. Whether you're in the tech sector, education, recruitment, manufacturing, engineering, whatever sector you're in, they look after the majority of them. So get in touch with Zodec at zodec.com or on the link below. Welcome back to another episode of RecTalk. I'm your host, Nitin Sharma, founder of RecTools.io. RecTools is the only whole of market directory for your recruitment business and your talent acquisition team. So if you're looking for a new supplier, perhaps it's a new CRM, perhaps it's a new applicant tracking system, perhaps you're looking to take on some new automation technology and you want to find out a bit about what's out there. Maybe you're unhappy with some of the job boards that you're spending a lot of money with and you want to find out, is there a better option? Are there more impressive things out there? Peer reviewed by people like yourselves. Head over to rectools.io. My guest today, you know him from Elev8 Learning, you know him from LinkedIn, you know him from being on the podcast a couple of times now, I believe.
Yeah, a couple of times.
Bobby, mate, appreciate you coming down. It's really good to see you again, especially everything that you've got and had going on this last year.
What? No, this last year's been a breeze. What are you on about?
But no, right. Two things. Number one, thank you for stepping in as always.
Hey, I'm only down the road. You know, if you ever need anyone, I'm always free.
And number two, mate. This episode has absolutely zero agenda. This is literally two mates catching up and figuring out kind of what's going on with you. We don't get a chance to speak enough. We just don't have enough time really to catch up. So,
well, funny enough, I was talking to another mate.
It as work.
Yeah, I was talking to a recruitment business owner who is another mate, and funny enough, we don't get to be vulnerable with each other enough, and I think that's possibly something that's got to change in our industry because actually everyone just going, "How are you doing, mate? Yeah, good. How are you?" Doesn't really work, and I think this last year for me has kind of taught me actually say when you're feeling like crap, say when say when actually things aren't going so well because people can actually help.
It's that thing, isn't it? It's like you. Being genuine and honest empowers others to be the same, in exactly the same way that when you are lying, you empower other people to lie. Right? If my kids have taught me that. If they watch me lying about what I have done or haven't done to my wife, they literally will be like, "Well, Daddy, you lied."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And you could be held accountable for some of that.
Exactly.
And, I mean, God, depending on what we end up talking about on this, accountability is super important.
Massive.
But yeah, no, I'm like I say, I'm happy to talk about absolutely anything you want, mate.
So what's been going on with you, man? What's going on this year?
Oh God, what's been going on?
Let's fill some people in that don't know.
Yeah, I'll cover it in 30 seconds. Got diagnosed with a really treatable cancer 3 days before Christmas, and 4 days after my 40th birthday. So perfect timing. Had 4 operations, one to remove my tonsils, one to cut my neck open. Scars are available if you want it. That can be on my OnlyFans. Had a third operation to get rid of all my wisdom teeth to make sure that I didn't look like Harvey Dent after radiotherapy.
Wow.
So because you can get necrosis, which is where your bone dies and it creates holes and stuff. And it's like, wow.
Yeah. I don't want that.
No. Yeah. And then 5 weeks, 5 days a week of radiotherapy. And so it's actually been 3 months this week that I've started to get back out and about again. And so I guess the challenges are now I've almost had to write off H1 as a business owner and kind of go, we're never going to complete our 2024 objectives now. So it's actually things, I think me coming on here is probably just to say that things do go shit from time to time, and actually how you cope with those things are really important.
It's an interesting one, because there's two parts to that I think are really key, right? Number one is, if you are your business, then you are vulnerable. As a business, your business is vulnerable, right? If
Totally.
if you're not there and you're not able to fulfill the objectives of that
A
business,
lot of my business is in-person delivery of training and
Exactly,
coaching,
right,
or at least virtual. And if I'm in a hospital bed,
yeah,
I ain't doing that, which is, funny enough, a lot of the conversations I had in my head around how does a business evolve, how does my business evolve, and what, in essence, people need to do to look at different revenue streams for when things maybe don't go the way they're planned with Plan A.
Yeah, or to make your business more investable, right? From the outside looking in, it's sort of like, what are people investing in here?
Yeah, totally.
Is there a proprietary kind of substance behind this, or actually are you the business? And if you're the business, that's great, that's fine, but you've got to then accept that comes with.
Yeah, and I think that a business lives and dies by when key people are missing, and I got to learn that the hard way.
Yeah.
And, luckily having someone else in the business, so, shout out Shane, who has been amazing all the way through and has kept all the stuff that we had going afloat, and, been able to kind of do all that stuff to keep, in essence, the business going. I'm not going to pretend that, we were doing amazingly well when I'm out. And so it's been testament to the level of, hopefully what we've created so far, but it's showed us that things have to change, both in the industry and for us as well.
Yeah, you constantly be evolving as well, which is, that's a funny one, because I mean, by the time this goes out, I'd have already been at Recruitment Expo, and my talk was delivering the top 10 tips to end your 2024 on a high.
Yeah.
And I'm giving my guests 3 each, and I'm only doing the one. But my tip is, and will be, and was, depending on when you're watching this, redefine your goals.
Yeah.
That is so important, right? Just redefine your goals, because you can't keep blaming the market, the candidates, the client base, the economy, the political climate. You can't keep blaming everything else and be like, no, but we need to keep going, right? Because the further you keep going in the wrong direction, the further you are from like where you should be. And it's
totally.
It's so simple, but so true. Just redefine your goals. What do you accept? For some businesses, just surviving is a success in the current climate they're in, with the debt leverage that's out there at the moment.
And once you peel back the veneer of everyone saying, things are going okay, most people are actually, this year has probably thrown up more pestle factors, political, economic, social factors than many years than I can even think about.
That's it.
And so it's cool. Things can have been a struggle this year. It's actually how you get your basics spot on. And actually, I see lots of recruitment businesses that haven't necessarily got the right processes in place, the right procedures. They don't necessarily have a structure for working a job properly. And I'm still seeing recruitment consultants working jobs 3, 4, 5 days, during core hours. And I'm there going, number one, all your candidates aren't available until 4 o'clock onwards. So why are you doing this now? But also,
because it used to work, Bob. It used to work. So why doesn't it work anymore? That's why I hear.
Yeah, well, because things have changed. I mean, I'm going to use, and controversially, I'm going to talk about use of the phone, because everyone's still saying about get on the phone.
Fucking hit the phones, lads.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say you don't get on the phones. It's actually how we use our phones that has changed over time. So, because I'm that nerd, I'm that nerd. I've looked at Ofcom statistics. I've looked at YouGov statistics, and funnily enough, we use our phones for making calls 10 to 15% less year on year.
Yeah.
And if you look at our phone contracts, back in the day, it was about how many minutes you had, how many cross network minutes, and all that kind of stuff. Maybe the odd text, and now it's all about data.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show that our attitudes, and even us as people, I'm 40, and I'm sure if there's enough recruitment business owners listening. But how many more people are more receptive to WhatsApp messages now than they ever were before? Yeah. So people who say, just call me, don't necessarily answer the phones themselves.
And that's not always what they mean either.
No.
Right? Because I've had to do this with my mum. My mum's a great example of this, right? In that I would tell her, right, filming podcast today, it's between this hour and this hour. I'll be on, like, don't ring. And sure enough, she'll ring, right? And it happens literally.
And she never rings any other time.
No,
but it'd be that
that's
time.
it. And she'll just,
Yeah.
And I've said to her before, like, when you ring, I immediately think, oh, something's wrong. Right, if mum's ringing, there's a problem.
It's anxiety inducing, isn't it?
That's it. And then usually it's just where did we put this, or did you need that, or I've just spoken to such and such's son is like, doing this. I thought you might want to know, and I'm like, all right, okay. And then I taught her about voice notes, and she was like, because again, she does the same thing with like the people in India that we've got like stuff out there, and she'd be like, oh, I rang him 6 times and he didn't answer, and I'm like, yeah, because he's probably busy. Why don't you leave him a voice note? So what? So I taught her voice notes, and she was like, this is great. Because she doesn't want to text and she doesn't think she can get the message across enough.
No.
So she thinks I want to leave a voicemail, but no one listens to voicemails.
And that's the thing. It's really difficult to listen to voicemails because you're thinking, what are they saying? You don't know what they're saying, and therefore I need to make sure I've got my headphones in and all those kind of things. So you've got to, it could even be the fact that you've got to find new and inventive ways of getting hold of people.
Yeah.
And that's the challenge this year. Or certainly for 2025. And, you look at it and go, well, actually, if I tried to get hold of someone, have I done stuff on WhatsApp with them? Have I done video intros with them? If it's a tech market, have I gone on Slack?
Yeah.
Because people respond to things in different ways now than they ever did before. And the phone is one of those methods, but it's having an omni-channel.
This is it. And I'm the same with, and I'd like your thoughts on this because I've been banging this drum on this podcast at least for the last 12 months. And when I rang my recruitment business, recruitment is not a sales job. Stop treating your recruitment business as a sales business. It's a consultancy, and you need to be leveraging marketing activities, right? Because in my head, I'm like, I don't remember the last time I bought something that I didn't know anything about and somebody convinced me to buy it. Exactly. Because that doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen.
But for some reason in recruitment, we seem to keep thinking that that's the way forward, whereas actually data and information is what people are looking for.
Yeah, if you're still thinking that the only way is to pitch people, then it's not going to work out. We've been doing some stuff with TRN recently, and it's trying to get them to change their minds on how they pitch, because they're still saying, I'm X, I specialize in X, and this is what I'm going to pitch to you today.
That's how they were taught,
Absolutely.
And that's how I was
taught.
You might have been in the game for 15 years. It doesn't mean you've got 15 years experience. It means you've got a year's experience 15 times over, right?
No, that goes from a cricket quote that someone said to me about, was it Monty Panesar?
Yes.
He bowls the same ball. Yeah. It was like brilliant. But yeah, no, it's kind of going into that mindset of, what can I do that's different? And so getting people to change even how they pitch, even if you're going to go that way, but actually say, well, what is the value of having you? And I think I saw a couple of posts about it today, funny enough. People don't communicate their value. And if that business didn't exist, would anyone care?
Yeah.
As a recruitment business, is there any difference that would happen that no one else would do? And so if you've got to find your points of difference these days, and how you find those points of difference are from the people you have, the operations you do, and the processes you have to be able to, and more importantly, the social impact and business impact that you have on the businesses that you serve.
Right. There was a lot of lessons from running my recruitment agency that, we started, grew, scaled, and then evidently failed, right? But the big thing that I picked up on within that was that this new crop of people coming in, younger millennials and Gen Z, that we want working for us, are motivated by absolutely the opposite of what we were, right?
And I'll add some clarity to that. Of course they are. If you look at what motivated us, we saw our parents get houses. We saw our parents work all the hours that God sends to be able to do whatever they needed to get those particular material things. Those material things now, the disparity between our wages and the ability to buy those material things, houses, cars, whatever, massively different. And so you've had the millennial generation who have gone, right, okay, I've seen that, but it's not as easy for me. And then you've got Gen Z who are going, well, unless I'm told how I can get there, there's no point in me doing it. I recently, funny enough, read a report, I think it was from, who was it? It wasn't McKinsey. It was Deloitte, around Gen Z being the most difficult generation to motivate. Of course, it's easy to not be motivated when you don't know what the hell to be motivated by. if I can then see that house that
But
cost
actually,
68 grand is now 500.
You are sort of almost so far removed from the line managers and the sort of the managerial leadership structure in these businesses. They just don't seem to understand it, right? Social impact is massively important for Gen Z.
Mm-hmm.
So perfect example, when we used to interview recruiters and we'd go, what makes you want to come and work in recruitment? And they'd say, I just want to help people get a job. And I like the feeling of helping somebody.
You must used to laugh
We
at
used
them
to
and
literally
tell
be
them,
like, get out, right?
Yeah.
That's what they want.
Yeah.
That is the perfect example of when they say that, they want you as an employer to say, do you know what? Yeah, look, we get paid well and we charge a fee for our service and so on. But what we do is we take people who are in careers that they don't want to necessarily be in or in places that they're not happy, and we find out what they want, what's missing in their lives, and we plug that gap by being the resource on behalf of that candidate to find them their ideal opportunity.
Totally.
Because what do we want? We want to place candidates in jobs who are not going to leave those jobs. Why? Because there's a financial implication to that. But actually, the social message regarding and the social impact piece, which is what the Gen Z want to hear, that's what they're interested in.
I've changed someone's life for the better.
I did that. I was involved in that. I can make content.
Honestly, the best feeling I had as a recruiter, and I remember it, I was at the Earl of Derby pub in Hills Road in Cambridge, because I worked at Cambridge Market, and I was telling my candidate that he had 3 offers, each of them more improved than the last, and he teared up because it wasn't necessarily that he got a new job. He had a daughter with health difficulties, and so he was like, I can actually afford medical, like private medical, and I was like, okay, that's why I've done that. I need to reframe this and understand my candidates better, because then I know what I'm really working towards, and that's what we need to be doing with our recruiters.
Yeah.
So if you're going to hire anyone at the moment, understand what their deeper line motivation is.
Just that, and this is the thing, right? That's not just for your own business, as in hiring as recruiters. Your candidates are exactly the same. It's
across the board.
You sitting there and being like, but I don't understand why you're not taking this job. It's paying $3,000 a year more. Well, guys,
because we've not done enough to understand.
You don't know. Yeah, exactly. You haven't done the candidate kind of understanding piece around what's their motivator, what's their primary motivator.
So when I'm hearing temp contract businesses go, oh, we only spend 15 minutes qualifying our candidates, I'm like, you're not going to get everything that you need, and you're going to get dropouts.
Yeah.
Because
surprise. Yeah.
And I had deals drop out because I didn't work out how much extra annual leave someone had in their job before, or percentage points on pensions, or I was just trying to think of the other one. Oh, it was an aggregated bonus, so it was dependent on how everyone else did. And even on contract, actually, people don't move if they know that they're going to get work at their existing place, and if you don't ask these questions, you're going to get found out. And so if you're not doing these things, and if you're not paying a bit more holistic attention to who your candidate is, how they operate, what they're motivated by, you're not going to sell the solution. It's same with sales. I mean, I could go on about that from a client point of view. If you don't understand the problems that people have, I don't care if you need a builder tomorrow or a software developer. If I don't know what the actual problem is that's being solved, so if I know that they're not working on a particular program that's going to help do this and it could be worth this much for the company, I can't sell the right person, because then someone who was maybe 50 grand, I can now sell, kind of understand someone who wants 60 grand, but I can see the commercial upside. We should stop treating our candidates as wages and see them as return on investment.
I'll clip that. I like that. That's exactly it, right?
Do you need me to look into the camera and do that?
Yeah. Do that again, but just at the camera. Angela Cripps on the podcast made a really good point around how much time and investment our recruitment business owners make with their people on things like the sort of the pestle piece, right? In like, how much do they truly actually understand the political climate and how that impacts clients' behaviour and candidate behaviour?
Exactly.
Simple things like tax, like how much do you understand about tax and high rate tax and all the rest of it to be able to have an effective conversation with your candidate and be like, look, what are we talking about here? You know,
if you're going to charge 20-25%, these are the conversations you need to have.
You need to be able to have, absolutely, yeah. Same with pensions. You've got to understand pensions. You've got or enough about it to be able to talk to. You can't call yourself an exec search or like, I work on senior appointments, 80K plus, and still not actually understand the difference between. This is like a genuine scenario. I had a chap that I used to work with who was looking after high-end roles, 80 to 120K.
Yeah.
That was his market. And he still believed that you have such a thing called a second job tax. Do you remember that thing that we used to think when we were kids?
Yeah.
Like, oh, no, I can't get 2 jobs because then I'll get taxed on all of it, right? Because we didn't know about it. This is a like knocking on 40-year-old guy at the time who was just like, yeah, but the second job tax. And I'm like, this guy, tell me about second job tax. Like, tell me about what is that? Tell me about that. Like, because I'm like, this is phenomenal because you're dealing with the high rate taxpayers.
Yeah.
You should be able to sit there and be like, listen, I know it's this.
Actually, talk to me about the living trust you've set up because actually to help accommodate for these
this
things.
offer's come in at $3,000 less than what you said that you wanted. However, you're a high rate taxpayer. Let's break £3,000 a year down and compare that against the additional benefits that you are getting and the pension contribution. But this guy's still stuck on second job tax.
Yeah, because I had to know this because I was working a like 35 to 60 grand market, so that threshold of that high rate taxpayer. And funny enough, the moment that you see, I think it was it 42 grand to 45 grand, there was no real upside. No. It was like, I can use this, and it's these little, it's just these little 1%ers that people seem to miss. But it took me time. It took everyone time. Even knowing things like percentage contributions by employer and employee, and all these weird and wonderful things. I know we're getting perm heavy on that. But then even from the contract side of things, understanding the
contractor side, man, again, you had good, I mean, I'm talking pre-IR35 days, right? You would have good temp consultants that would be like, look, the benefit of the umbrella piece and you can claim back expenses and you can do this and you can do that. And actually, yes, I know you're looking for a permanent job, but this might work out financially more lucrative for you, knowing those little nuances absolutely helps. But how one question I've got for you then, so is I've seen obviously you do a lot with the likes of TRN.
Yeah.
How receptive are the current crop of business owners to this kind of what we consider obvious information, but for some might be radically different to what they've heard?
Yeah, it's still slightly different from what they're doing, and which is obviously great for me because I'm there going with stuff that I already know, and then kind of helping them, and then they use it, and then they see the results and go, right, okay, brilliant. Yeah. What else?
It's like I need Bobby. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's great for me. But yeah, you're right. I think business owners are starting to get there, but I love our industry, but sometimes we are quite slow to react to things. Take AI as one of those examples, or anything that's because we get threatened by it to start off with.
Yeah.
And so if we there's some really easy wins that can be had from business development right now. And I know that's me being quite flippant, but it's more thinking actually, and sorry for the rude language, but what does my client give a shit about? If you just have that one question at the back of your mind, and actually I can happily break that down a little bit more. I care about how a candidate, if I need a candidate, because 99 times out of 100, I don't, whenever you call, I do not need people. But if I did, what skill, what personality traits would make my life easy? Whenever I hired someone, it was more a case of I didn't care who they were, what they did. I was like, how can I either mold them or how can I make my life easier by having this person? And if I can't see, you said about phone call, literally.
Yes, Mum.
Yeah, no, luckily it wasn't Mum. But yeah, it's just these little things that you can do that are massively different from everyone else because everyone else is still pitching candidates. Everyone's still pitching their exact same service that everyone else has. It's actually looking at what is, and I heard Mike Ames talk about this. What is the grit in the eye for the people for the people that you're serving? And so if you break that, I started breaking that down. They have KPIs. How are they hitting their KPIs, their roadmaps, their goals, their functions, and what's stopping them from doing that? It's what are the challenges that they're facing in their team at the moment? because some people work well together, some people don't. We've seen it in recruitment businesses. We've seen it in all kinds of businesses.
Yeah.
But we don't seem to remember that we're seeing a lot of the same things in our own offices that everyone else is seeing. And how do you portray that and go, actually, yeah, me too.
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. And actually coming from positions of, because what we generally tend to go is, I think this, this, and this. But actually, if you can come from positions on your pitches around, I know that these are the top 3 things that people are really struggling with at the moment. How are those things affecting you?
Mm-hmm.
Way more powerful. You're coming from a position on high rather than a position of subservience going, I think you might need this. Like, I think you have jobs. No one needs that. I know you've got these positions available for the last 6 months. What's been going on?
Yeah. That bit always bugs me, right? When you got recruitment consultancies that only ever call the business when there's a vacancy. So how much more transparent do you want to be, right? So I was fortunate enough to be at RecFest and did a panel podcast with, I had 4 really kind of senior, experienced heads of TA.
Yeah.
And I called them out on it and was like, look, the reality is you guys keep going on about how you want relationships with, your suppliers and that kind of thing. But how the fuck is anyone supposed to start a relationship with you when you don't answer the phone call and you don't respond to CVs being specced in and blah, 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 like And I remember I explicitly was like, Andy, I can't ring you up and be like, Andy, I want to start a relationship with you. Because you're just going to laugh out on the phone at me, aren't you? And he was like, no, I wouldn't. I've never had anyone do that. If someone rang me up and said, listen, I want to work with your business. I work in this sector of recruitment. I have candidates registered with me that are at your competitors or places that you tend to hire from, because I've done all this research and it's all available on LinkedIn, where these people have previously worked and all the rest of it. I feel like I could add value to you. And I'd like to start that process. And I see you're also hiring for this position, so can I send you CVs? No. Put that bit to the side a minute. What do you need from me to start? What are you not getting from your current crop of suppliers? What are they doing really well that I can add to, right? What value, what information, what can I do for you that's going to be useful?
You're literally preempting my objection handling template sheet that I have. Like, it's all those questions are really important. It's like, what's working well? What's not working well? Like I say, you were setting a challenge earlier. So Shane and I are doing a set of challenges on LinkedIn at the moment. And they're going to be going out in a couple of weeks. And my challenge is actually do a bit of a post-mortem of the last 5 clients that you've worked with. Ask what worked well, what didn't work well. How did I perform against other agencies that you may have engaged on it? What were the challenges that you faced with the internal team by filling this particular position? And how can we create better things for next time? And you'll be surprised how many people will then go, oh yeah, how did that go? Because I didn't really think about it because I was too busy with so many other things at the time, and recruitment is at literally the back of my mind. But yeah, actually, when I think about that, I didn't get this, or I didn't get the CVs that I needed at the right time. And actually, it took you guys to come on board. It's like, oh, did it really? And it can open up different conversations. And I get so frustrated that we can have really simple conversations with people.
We never want to know why that bad taste in the mouth is from. You know what I mean? Like, clients will remember they have a bad taste in their mouth from that process. But they ain't got time to sit and think about it. But that is all we do. We're in recruitment. That tiny little thing that was bugging them is our job. And so we can absolutely rip that apart and be like, right, why did that work? Why did that not work? And I think both of those things are equally as important. So we did this... I set up, we're an accountancy and finance business predominantly, and I set up our tech and digital. And the very first thing I did was go, right, all of our last lot of crop of business that we've done recently and in the last 12 months, where did it come from? Let me be completely transparent with this, existing relationship, recommendation from existing relationship. Okay, we lead chase that one, or we spec'd into that one. Recommendation. And I was like, so if I'm now going to go, okay, I'm setting up this tech and digital division, it's me and Liam, that is a waste of my time and Liam's time for me to be like, let's make a list of companies and start bashing the phones. Because the majority of our work came from recommendations and referrals. So that's what we need to be doing, is finding, right, let's leverage, okay, let's get in touch with all of these. Introduce me to your tech division now. Introduce me to your digital teams.
I don't know whether you know Justin Hillier from Recruiter Insider.
No, I think I'm connected to it. I'm connected to a lot of people.
Yeah, I was going to say it might be
to
worth you two having a chat, because that's all he's doing. He's created a feedback platform for recruitment businesses. And like it's just basic stuff that you guys could be getting from your candidates, your clients, and even all those candidates that you have put loads of time and effort in. You've gone through the stages with them. You've been fortunate enough to have 3 candidates at final interview.
Mm-hmm.
One gets the job, the other 2 narrowly miss out. And then what happens with the conversation with those 2 people? Nothing. And it's so frustrating because you put in all that time and effort. Because again, I'll put this to all the recruiters out there. How many people do you spend more than half an hour, 45 minutes with on the phone in your personal lives? Other halves, maybe best friends, maybe, well, I could put the phone onto my mother and I could let her speak, and then I could do some stuff.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting that we're willing to have these conversations with all these people and then not do anything with them.
Yeah.
Like if they narrowly missed out at, I don't know, KPMG, that means that Deloitte, Ernst & Young, whoever it is, and the thing is, it's not just those competitors, it's also the challenger companies, because there's so many challenger companies at the moment.
Yeah,
because obviously there's Big 4, then there's top 10, then there's
if you
top
know
50.
your market, you know where to take these people.
Exactly.
But that's the answer, though, isn't it, Bobby? There's the answer. There's the issue. You need to know your market. If you don't know your market, you don't know what to do with these people. If all you're doing is lead chasing, luckily stumbling on a vacancy, and then firing as many CVs as you can till you get an interview process started, and you're just grateful that one person got the job, you actually genuinely don't give a shit about those other candidates because you don't know your market, because you don't know where to take these people.
Yeah.
That's the problem. So fundamentally,
Well, that's a lot of the
recruitment
business development process stuff that I have to do with people.
And this is it. And so you've got an issue in your recruitment business then.
Yeah.
Because you talk about mudslingers and stuff. That's what you're doing. You're transactional. You're mudslinging.
Because it's not just saying, oh, I need to find 50 construction businesses to send this person. It's about looking at, is it commercial versus residential? What scale of projects are they doing? And I know there's data companies out there that can probably help you with some of that. I think, is it Bowhurst or some of those? Like I said, I'm not affiliated to anyone. It's just I think that's
your domain, man. You love this stuff.
It's just, exactly.
Stats there's loads, facts, baby.
Absolutely. I'm such I don't know what's wrong with me.
Nerd.
Yeah. I just haven't been able to for so long. But yeah, no, it's just using that data around there, because as you said earlier on, data is the key to this now.
That's it.
And as you said, recruitment isn't sales.
But
it isn't door knocking, and that's why I know that there's like personality tests out there that do that kind of sales ability, and then they're going, it's not the same thing, man. If you want to find people that are willing to go actually knock on doors, there are tests out there to do that. But for recruitment, there are specific things that you need to know.
This is the frustration that I have within our kind of industry, but like there's like basic things as well, right, that you can do where you've got clients will openly say they want value from their recruitment partners. Okay, every single day, if you're a busy recruitment agency, you're speaking to a crop of candidates, no matter what the sector might be. Have a question of the week. Ask them all the same question. Do your own research and your data collection.
Yeah, totally.
And take that and put that in the form of a digital asset and ask people if they want to download it, or ring around, put it on your mailing campaign, whatever it might be. But
I challenge recruiters to think about that and go, how many candidates do you speak to a week? How many, dare I say, pre-exit interviews are you conducting? Because every time you speak to a candidate and they're looking to leave, you're doing doing a company's exit interview before they've even known that they're exiting. And so you're already being able to understand why people are leaving, what people are leaving, what would people like to be doing, what salaries or daily rates, what projects people love the idea of and hate the idea of, types of people they like and don't like. You're getting all of this information. And obviously, I said salaries, pensions, annual leaves.
Do something with it.
You can do something with that.
Yeah.
And you're speaking to...
Your TA partners out there, all the TA guys that I know of that are out there, right, they are crying out for this information, because you talk about the what's in it for me piece. If you give a TA leader this information, they're going to take that to their wider business. That's going to make them look like $1 million to their business, and they're going to owe you that favor, right? I'm in a TA WhatsApp group. I'm in 3. I can't tell you the number of times that somebody in that group will pipe up and be like, we're in this specific niche. Does anybody have any recruitment agency that they recommend us working with? Those recommendations and referrals, that happens in the TA world. If you're like, oh, well, I've been in recruitment 15 years. I've never had a TA recommend me. It's because you're doing something. You're doing it wrong.
Because recruiters need to remember that TAs, I mean, depending on the companies that they work for, are working anything between 15 and 500 jobs.
And everything from cleaner
to CEO.
To CEO.
Yeah. That's exactly the same two terms I use as well. And funny enough, you can't, no one can create talent pools for all of that. No one. I've never seen anyone do it. I've seen some amazing recruiters, and one of the best recruiters I know up in Manchester at the time, he could multitask the shit out of anything. But no one's going to be able to do that. No. So people need to remove some of the pressure off themselves. And as millennials, what we generally tend to do is go, I need someone to make my life easier. Mm-hmm. I need things to make my life easier. I need things to make those problems go away. And so, funny enough, if you can show them that you can make some of those problems go away, but you need to understand their problems first, you're going to be winning.
Yeah. No. And it's getting across that we're not that ambulance chasing.
We don't need to mentality. Be. If I'm looking, and that's the thing I think I had to be to start off with. And then you look at it and you go, actually, for what I do I understand the product and the service I deliver? If I don't, then I'm at 15%, in all honesty, or 10%, you might as well go do that. If you actually understand the value that you can bring, how do you save time? How do you increase quality? How do you create value? Because hey, a poor hire is roughly around 3 times someone's salary. And so, you're looking at an 80 grand salary, that's 240 grand in lack of functionality,
output,
heating, light, licenses, all those kind of things. And God, especially as a LinkedIn recruiter license, if you're thinking about recruitment businesses, they're what, 5 grand?
But no, you're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, it's a case of kind of, sometimes I'll sit there and be like, do we maybe oversimplify it? Because the reality, and I get it, right? The reality is you've got to keep the lights on. And you need to make those placements. You need to get money in through the door. And so it's very easy to go after what looks like the low-hanging fruit, right? But quite often the low-hanging fruit and the one on the floor, yes, it's easier to get to. It's usually the bit that's gone wrong.
It's usually the rotten one.
Yeah, right, yeah, exactly, right? And I think that, like, in reflection, like a big part of where we went wrong in our recruitment agency was we ended up doing way too much of the low-hanging fruit. Because we were so leveraged with overheads, all we were thinking about was keeping the doors open, right? And there was times where it was like touch and go. And so then all those things that we were good at, which was the relationship building, the adding value, the giving back, and partnering with businesses, that went out the window because it was sort of like, don't give a shit, I need that fucking invoice in. Yeah. We need to hit this number this month because shit.
And that's where the sales element comes in. It's in essence trying to overly persuade people who don't want to be persuaded. I mean, if you go into a watch shop and someone's really trying to oversell you a Rolex, you're going to walk out really annoyed.
Yeah,
and you're going to go someone else who doesn't necessarily who values what you say, and it's exactly the same process. But if we try and overdo, we oversell, we try and kind of crowbar candidates into interview processes and all that kind of stuff. People are going to get pissed off. And that's what we've seen, because 2021, it was allowed to do that. Yeah. Everyone was allowed, because everyone was all over the place. But the market has now corrected itself. And I know I've spoken about the ONS job statistics on this pod a couple of times, but we're now at the same point where we were pre-pandemic. Right. So all we've done is our market has just corrected itself down. So we think the world's ended this last year, but actually the market was going to come down at some point. I did economics at uni. All that we were told is what goes up must comes down.
Yeah.
And if you can understand that, and if you can take that in, because the problem is we think we do the same. We think quarter to quarter, month to month. We don't think.
This comes down to redefining your goals.
Yeah, totally.
You cannot grow month on month, quarter on quarter, year on year. It's just not that's just not how it works.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah, but yeah, it's funny though, because with the sales, the sales piece really kind of gets me, because even those who do treat it like a sales business and have that sales mentality don't seem to understand the psychology behind sales. The simple things of, it's not people buy from people. It's people buy from people like them, or people buy from people they like, right? So if you're a pushy, salesy, blah, 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 you're not like them and they don't like you. So they're not going to buy from you. So you can put that to bed.
Well, I challenge anyone to go, right, let's assume a typical fee, something about, what, 6-7 grand.
Mm-hmm.
Let's use that. If you were to buy anything in your personal life for 6 or 7 grand, and let's be honest, that is probably a watch, a handbag,
car.
I'm just trying to think, definitely, well, a house in Hull. But I could say that I'm from Hull. It's fine. But if you look at those things that cost that kind of money, a kitchen, a full on, I got a sofa. I had to do that the other day. If you look at that, you want to be guided through the process.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to be told this is what you
take this,
or at least be shown some recommendations by someone.
Mm-hmm.
And because that's all we want. All we want, how we buy as people, is based on who else do we know that can corroborate this particular story? Because of our generation, because we've been allowed to have more information now than ever before.
Yeah, again, I did a whole thing on psychology of sales when I was in the banking world and so on and so forth, right? And a big thing that sticks in my mind from that was that people buy based on emotions. And then they justify that decision to buy with the facts.
Mm-hmm.
They don't go, right, I need a new car. Let me go and find the most fuel efficient car within the right tax bracket and within the right insurance group and so on and so forth. They buy based on the emotion, or they decide based on the emotion. Then they justify that decision to buy with the facts.
Yeah.
It's a 27E insurance group. My current car's a 40, so that I save money there, and it's more fuel efficient. But
more importantly, I like it.
I like it. Yeah.
I like it, and I feel great.
I like it, therefore I justify it. I don't like it, therefore, no matter how much justification you throw at me, I don't want it. Put that in the candidate space. I get what you're saying. It's going to pay me more. How is this candidate going to make your company feel? Tomorrow, all that sort of stuff. I understand all these things, but I don't want that job. Yeah, but no, you told me that let match back to the candidate the facts that they told you, and match back to the candidate that they were looking for this and you've secured them this. It's a person.
Again, it's about holding people to account, and yourself being one of them. If you can say, and again, it depends on how long you spend qualifying your candidate, going back to that, and having a form and writing down on that form and having everything that was discussed. The best part is there's so many free AI note takers now. I'm sure you're the person.
You're right. There's CRMs now that will do your notes for you.
I don't need to. I can easily, if I can get to a point where I've asked the right questions to go, no, you told me this. I sound like my own wife in an argument. She's very quick to say, you said this, and I'm there going, yeah, I did, didn't I? And I can't really get out of that. And so I have to say, I'm sorry. And so it's exactly the same thing. You have to go, well, actually, no, you said you were on 43 grand with this. What's changed? And funny enough, if they know that you've actually held that to account, because no one knows the process that we go through.
But also accept the other side of it. Sometimes there are intangible things.
Of course,
right? Hang on a minute. That job pays you what you want it to pay, and you've been to the interview. You can do the job. The location's fine. So why won't you take it? I just don't want it. I'm not passionate about that.
Yeah.
It was a pricing analyst position. They'd been open for a number of
not that you've
months.
got PTSD from it.
Stays up here. The guy was so bizarre, and then I'm connected to him on LinkedIn, and I found him really bizarre because I was very junior in my career and I was a lot younger and just didn't get it. Now I look back and feel like a fascinating guy, but yeah, he was really, really picky about stuff and blah blah blah. Finally found a candidate that he liked, that he wanted to offer, and the candidate was just like, I just don't, no, I'm not feeling it. And I was like, I don't understand. I do not understand it. It's paying what you want. It's round the corner. Da 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 da. She was just like, I'm just not interested in like pipes because the company made pipes, and she was like, he was nice, team's great, location's great, but they make pipes.
I just can't get behind it.
Yeah, I don't want to price up pipes.
Yeah,
like exactly. I just don't want to do it, and I'm like, fuck.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
And the problem is, you go
fixated on this is a $7.5 grand fee.
The problem is they're going, they're unreasonable because they don't like what is it about pipes, and then you go, actually, would I work for something I don't give a shit about?
Do I want to recruit for a business that just sells pipes? No, of course I don't. Right? Yeah, it's fun, isn't it? It's wow. I think you touched and mentioned AI a couple of times there, and I think we're at a point now where people like me and you, who are not techie people, who understand and enjoy using technology, can use the skills that we have got, which is an understanding of the industry and the market, and build tools that will help and elevate the industry. And I think that was never possible before. The disconnect between a techie, a good, strong coder and a tech business.
Well, everything's no code, right?
That's it. Yeah, that's it. And the disconnect between kind of the people who knew what they wanted would go to the tech team, build this, and they kind of built something that resembles a little bit about what they want. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But you're 30, 40 grand down the road now and you've built an MVP and no one's really interested in it. Like, we're in a really interesting space now where over a beer, we could come up with a concept and an idea based on my experiences, your experiences, go create an MVP and take that out to market, right?
Oh, it's funny you say that because that's exactly what I did. So after my first operation in January...
I teed that up for you, by the way.
I know, I didn't realise that. I was in my hospital bed going, right, there's got to be more to create, and ended up creating a what is now ended up becoming a situational judgment test, almost like a hazard perception test for recruiters. And you're right, it's so easy to then go, right, actually, I can create that. I mean, the only thing we haven't done at the moment is create the AI back bit to then make it keep learning, keep intuitive, and then be able to create a PDF report that then goes out to the recruitment consultant and the recruitment business to go, this is how closely you match or don't match. And it is so fascinating how inexpensive it can be if you get the right people, and there's someone I can tell you to have a chat with after this, and how little time it can take. The only thing that took us was having to do the data stuff in the background, so getting 150 people to respond to it and then put their views forward.
Had it, and that was the thing though, but you had that network anyway, and so whilst that was the longest part of it,
exactly,
it's still,
and even in the background,
effectively a quick thing to turn around.
Because again, we don't want to fuck it up. So we've been speaking to kind of psychometric trained people. We've been speaking to a lovely guy called Ben who owns a company called Sten 10. It's
Ben Sten 10.
Exactly. And I ended up calling him Ben 10 constantly. And he was kind of giving his ideas about what we need to do to make sure that things work within a DE&I space, and working with HR consultants. So it's now the time is spent having to verify the ramblings of two people over a beer, rather than just getting the thing out to market, which is a great place to be, because then you can actually spend the time on the things that make it right, as opposed to just the things to get it out there.
That's it. And see, that for me sits and aligns perfectly with my vision of redefine your goals, right? Redefine your objectives, because you don't have to be the next big tech business. You're not going to be the next Bullhorn. No. It's not going to happen. But if you can create a tool...
Bullhorn's not the next Amazon. And that's the thing,
exactly. There's always somebody bigger, right?
There's always somebody bigger.
The reality is we're at a point now where using and leveraging the technical advancements that we've got in society, you can take an idea that started off as two rambling like chaps in a pub talking about we could fix this issue. And if you can get something to market that solves a problem for a select group of people, define that as a success, because you did that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And be proud of that. You don't have to, it doesn't have to result in you being like, and then I grew and scaled and exited it and sold it for 100 million and now I can sell a course on TikTok.
You can apply that to anything. I mean, even if you, going back to BD or sales, if you're there thinking the only thing I need to get is jobs, you have a high failure rate, my friend. And every person that gets on the phone is thinking, I'm never going to get this.
Yeah.
If you can go, right, actually, if I got two of these things, whether it's the hiring process, who do I need to speak to in TA? How do I, kind of develop my PSL, or if I can understand what tech stack that they use, I'm getting that bit further. And so we've had to create little checklists for companies to go, right, forget the big stuff. It's almost like dating. And oh my God, I can go to so many dating examples. But it's almost like you don't go on a client call going, right, are we going to have sex or what?
Yeah.
Or
how many kids we having?
Yeah, how many kids we having? When are we getting married? You're not doing those things. And we're trying to do the same thing every time we have a BD call. When we go on a date, we go, Nitin, what are you into? Tell me about where you like traveling. Talk to me about the challenges you face. Talk to me what you don't like about these things. And funny enough, you can apply the same questions to BD and then get some answers that really make sense to you. And then you're starting to solve problems. And when you're starting to solve problems, you can actually, then you can slide into the DMs. That's no problem. But if you don't know how to, then what's the point?
Yeah. There's nothing really to add to that. I think that's bang on. I think that's a perfect place to end this. Slide into DMs.
Yeah, just keep sliding into DMs, my friends.
What have you guys got going on? Here's your chance to plug right there.
Yeah, no, fine.
Tell them.
Yeah, so funny enough, we're doing quite a lot with recruitment business owners, and we've been trying to work out. We've talked about that LinkedIn recruiter problem. $5,000. No one knows how to use it, and everyone, tech adoption of that. And God, we could talk about tech adoption for forever.
That's
everyone uses about 20% of it. So we've been working in the background to help use maybe 50 to 60% of the other 80% that no one is using. So hopefully rolling out the making more out of LinkedIn Recruiter. The happy test, which what was on about with that recruitment has a perception test. That was literally we're starting to we've got people that are. People like James Osborne in the industry, Kalpesh Baxi, but also, psychometric people. And there's three of us three recruitment trainers that are creating it. So there's me, Shane, and a lady called Sophie Morris, if you've ever heard of her.
Yeah.
So getting that out to market is like we're at the testing phase and it seems to be working all right. So, well, you've tried it. You let me know.
Yeah.
It's about trying to understand who the right people are for businesses, because the one thing, because you were saying what problem do you want to solve? Ours was getting the right people for businesses, but also getting the right people right seat.
Yeah.
Because you probably had it yourself. You probably hired someone, you go, they're right for the business, but we've only got this market available. So we can't lose out on them. But actually, how do we get the right people for those seats?
And then you make them work a desk until something,
Yeah, and it's trying to remove some of those things. So I want to improve attrition in recruitment, because as a recruitment trainer, I get really pissed off with having to polish turds. And people hire people.
It's
and
sad, isn't it? Because it is a good job, and it can be such a great job.
It's an amazing job where you can change people's lives for the better. I mean, I'm
your
really
own,
not.
But and your own.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, absolutely. Before I entered recruitment, I didn't have a girlfriend. I didn't.
Recruitment got me a girlfriend.
Yeah, I found my wife at S3. Yeah, absolutely. We met at our Christmas do, and so recruitment has given me so many incredible things, and that's why I absolutely love our industry. But there's a couple of problems with it. One, you can be absolutely anyone and ruin the industry. And behaviorally, we don't test for behaviors. We test for, right, tell me about what you've done in sales.
Attitude or whatever.
Well, it's not even that. It's
really.
It's just there was obviously that time where what was your favorite film? If you said Wolf of Wall Street, you're in. And it's like, right, actually, we need to start looking into the person, what are they motivated by, and all those kind of things.
And do they match the culture of what we're building here? Because,
totally.
Again, sometimes that you could be the right person for recruitment, and you could be a great recruitment business, but even that doesn't work, right? You can be the sweetest peach on the tree, but some people just don't like peaches, and that's okay,
Exactly.
That's what I like about your thing is it shows this person's going to not only add value and be good in this job, but actually fit into your culture.
Absolutely, and that's the plan of it. It's not just about can they do the job. In essence, well, you answered it, so that there's no wrong answers. It's which one would you more likely do first, and if that then matches with what the other people would do, then we're starting to get on the right kind of ballpark, rather than just thinking, do they do exactly what I say they're going to do? Because invariably those people don't work out, because I'm just coaching myself to say what you want to say, not how do I create a market.
And you know what? There's more effective ways of doing that. If you just want clones of yourself, then give it 6 months.
And there's a
AI
place,
will be able to do that.
Yeah, and there's a place for clones of yourself, and I don't mind that. If you want people to just be like you in your business, that's absolutely fine. But it's been shown time and time again that diversity of thought creates better businesses and more profitable businesses. So if you can find the fun thing that we've been doing in our testing is, some people say you and someone that works alongside you may have the same score, but you've answered or some of the 25 questions in different ways. And that's exciting, because that's diversity of thought. And so if you can get into that, if we're starting to uncover some of these weird and wonderful things, as you can tell, as the nerd, this is making making me really happy.
You're a proper data nerd, and you're sitting there,
and I'm getting
gives
data.
Me sexy data.
Yeah, absolutely. And so if I can find all those things and then go, actually, these are the challenges, this is how it gets solved.
Yeah.
I can then start cracking a little bit of that 44% attrition rate that's in our industry, because then in 2021, 2022, all I saw was people that were hired did okay because everyone could do okay in that market, but they were not built for recruitment. So why are we doing those things? And there's little things that people can do. And my job at the moment with the happy test, and we're doing a recruiter stress test. So essentially, if you're doing like an assessment day style thing, or if you're trying to find someone, putting them through the ringer of actually being a recruiter for a little bit, but and then people can go, actually, this isn't for me. And remove that from the process, and that's fine. But it's trying to get people to work out how to hire properly, and I'm really vested in that.
Which is ironic, isn't it? It's like your recruiters
don't. It makes me laugh. You know, we are so good at finding people for other businesses, but when it comes for ourselves, we really struggle. Hey, it took me a couple of times to get the right people for me as well. It does happen, because unfortunately we can't objectify, can't be as objective as we can, because we put our emotions into it.
No,
so allow someone to help you do that.
So how do people reach out to you guys?
Yeah, I mean, reach out to me on LinkedIn. What else? Yeah, I guess follow the website, but we're going to go through an overhaul of that. But yeah, just connect with myself and Shane Reardon, really, and Sophie Morris, so we can talk through the tests, or talk through kind of how you can get more out of training if you want. But no biggie either way.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much. Thanks for listening once again. For those of you who still are, new episodes drop every Wednesday. And thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing, and making RecTalk the largest channel in the recruitment sector. We'll see you again next week. Mate, this is good. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Oh. Yeah. Sometimes just a general chat is just as important, right?
It goes in exactly the way I want it.